Hey, what's up guys? I'm DJ Alex Brown and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to discuss something that I promised to probably over a year ago now, and that is the comparison between Weddingwire advertising, TheKnot advertising, that one company that owns all those different websites, versus Google Ads, versus SEO. This video is made possible by Crate Connect. More on that later, and a link in the description. First of all, if you're not familiar with Weddingwire, TheKnot or the Bash, there's a couple other sites that they own. These are sites that are owned by TheKnot worldwide and work under the name of WeddingPro to sell advertising packages to vendors. Weddingwire and TheKnot are some of the most well-known and biggest, and also because of that the most expensive to advertise on, and the two are actually bridged. So at the lowest level, if you want to be at the pro level on one of these sites, you actually have to be at the pro level on both sites. So many wedding vendors, not just DJs, absolutely hate Weddingwire because they have quite the stranglehold over the wedding industry. That being said, they're not the only way to advertise and get couples. Another way that you can do this is through Google, and I would consider there being two ways to do this. Number one would be just paying to advertise, which is paying to be on top, pay-per-click ads, and that would be referred to as SEM, or search engine marketing. Essentially, that's where you pay Google to advertise and rank at a certain spot on a page. The third option to advertise on Google would be SEO. Now, SEO stands for search engine optimization, and it's not really advertising on Google. It's advertising indirectly by ranking higher on Google without actually paying Google to do that. Now, you can have firms do this for you that will charge anywhere from $50 to $500 a month to keep your SEO up to date and manage your website. But the main thing is that you want to have your pages ranking right at the top, right below the ads. There is a secondary way of doing SEO, and that's to use your Google My Business listing to rank very high. Combining both of those together can be quite successful, and that is actually how I get most of my business, is through organic search results, SEO, and my Google My Business listing. Both of those things can be optimized to rank higher, but it does take a fair amount of work or a fair amount of money to pay someone to do it for you. I have had an SEO consultant do a couple hours worth of work for me during the pandemic when I had some grant funding that allowed me to spend that money. So none of these are free options. They are all paid advertising in some regard. What we're going to discuss today is what will get you the most bang for your buck. And I think a lot of that is going to come down to who you're trying to advertise to, you know, the amount of work and the budget that you can, you know, take on and things like that. What your level of experience is. I think there's a lot of things that play into what the best method for you is. That's kind of a long introduction, but let's get right into discussing this topic. First, I have many videos on my channel about the Weddingwire and TheKnot advertising and my experience with it. I did not have a very positive experience. I will put a couple cards as well as some links in the description to some of those videos so that you can see those. Those are where I'll go more in depth about my actual experience with Weddingwire, but I'll quickly overview approximately how much it costs as of last year to advertise on Weddingwire and TheKnot. $200 to $250 a month for their lowest tiers. I could make a whole separate video on determining which of those options is best for you, whether it's TheKnot or Weddingwire or both, and what level of advertising. Now, in my opinion, the people who are going to do best on TheKnot and Weddingwire are the people who have been in the wedding industry for a couple of years, have gotten some reviews, have gotten some clients, and want to start getting more clients. I see Weddingwire and TheKnot as a temporary solution for the most part, a launching board, because it's very expensive and it takes a lot of your time because you have to respond to a lot of leads that ultimately aren't going to book you. If you would consider yourself as appealing to all couples, or all price ranges, or you're a budget-friendly vendor, something along those lines, Weddingwire might be the right option for you because there is no shortage of brides on Weddingwire that are looking for a good deal. Now that being said, Weddingwire is a lot of work. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of people that probably aren't going to end up booking you because it is a sausage fest of vendors all coming at couples. And for me, it was not worth my time, and I did get some bookings off of it. I ended up kind of breaking even from the way I would personally calculate it, but I decided it wasn't right for me. And I focused my energy on SEO, search engine optimization. Now, I've been focusing on SEO for a while with my website, but I really put money into it and a ton of time during the pandemic last year. And when things reopened, it had really paid off. The value of my SEO, I would say, is probably worth between $200 and $400 a month of advertising, especially when you look at, the quality of leads that I'm getting compared with what you would pay on something like Weddingwire or different lead service sites that are similar. So that's how I would personally value it. Is it worth paying someone to do it? That's something that I think is a little more touchy because companies can charge a lot of money and not do a great job of it. And it is something that takes time. With Weddingwire, you pay the money, the next day you start getting leads. With SEO, it's going to take you probably about 6 months from when you actually have been fully optimized on your website to actually start ranking, say, on the first page for the keywords that you selected. So one drawback is time. However, if you want to target a specific type of client, such as brides looking for uplighting, or brides looking for something specific that you offer that somebody else doesn't, you're probably going to do better with SEO because you can target those keywords. That being said, while SEO does require some maintenance once you start ranking highly, there's no need after about a year to continue paying monthly, in my opinion. You can do just as well by just sort of paying for, a yearly checkup on your SEO to make sure you're up to date with the newest guidelines. Now, as a side shoot to SEO, Google My Business can be a great alternative for those who are looking to not dump too much time, effort, and money into a website. The Google My Business listing can be optimized very similarly to a website, and generally there's going to be a lot less business listings than websites. So sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. It's a great opportunity to put photos and reviews right on the first page of Google if you can get to rank that high. And sometimes people will go looking and they'll just look through the Google My Business listings and completely ignore the search results. You can also advertise a Google My Business listing sort of in an SEM fashion, and use pay-per-click ads to make it rank at the top of the Google My Business section, which kind of leads me into my next point, which is ads and spending for pay-per-click ads with Google. This is something that, again, I've done on and off for years, and I specifically tried it this year again as an alternative when I had a little bit of a slowdown in inquiries. I found that it was actually a great value for your money. Granted, I knew the keywords that I needed to target because I had already gone with a successful SEO strategy. There's a lot to be said for having the know-how and having the right keywords to be successful in these campaigns, but with the right keywords, I spent about $80 and got about the same amount of leads that I would get in a month with Weddingwire. So I think that gives a good comparison. Would you rather spend the $80 a month, or would you rather spend, $200 or $300 a month? I think the answer is pretty clear. That being said, all of these methods can be combined, especially if you run a company of any sort in the wedding industry. The more leads, the better. If you have a scalable workforce, then you're going to want to get as many leads as possible and be as busy as possible. In my case, I'm a sole proprietor. I am a one-person show, so I can't handle, having leads coming from Weddingwire, TheKnot, Google, and all these different places. So it makes a little more sense for me to focus on one platform. Of course, I'd like to grow a lot bigger in the future, but that does take some time. But back to talking about the ad money. With my Google ad campaign, I got clear results where I saw that pretty immediately, within a couple days of the ad being approved and running, I was getting more inquiries for photo booth and more inquiries for weddings. The only problem that I did run into with this was that some of the inquiries I got were further away than I normally like. And the same thing happens on Weddingwire and TheKnot, but I was getting inquiries for weddings in New Hampshire. I was getting inquiries for weddings in Connecticut. Those are places that I will service, and I've serviced before. However, they're places that I don't typically travel to. So I do have a travel fee. Some of those people did not book. So that is one downside. I definitely did book local events though. I booked, Sweet 16s, I booked some photo booth events, and I booked a wedding or two off of it. It's very hard to relate exactly how many events I booked off of it because there's no way to differentiate the ones that came from SEO versus SEM really. However, I can tell that there was a big uptick in leads and because of that, a big uptick in bookings. As far as the quality of the leads, I would say they weren't any different from the ones that I get from SEO, which was interesting. With paying for ads, I expected people to be, less trustworthy of the ad and therefore book less. One key thing to note as well is you definitely need to have a well-built website or a well-built Google My Business profile if you're going to go down the approach of Google Ads. That is one thing to consider with Weddingwire. They'll pretty much set that profile up for you and help you along the way. So it all comes down to, how much you're willing to put into it. Personally, I like to do a lot of things myself. I like to have a lot of control over what's going on. A 12-month contract with Weddingwire versus a cancel anytime with Google Ads. To me, the Google Ads looks a lot better because of that. So I can cancel anytime, not a big deal. Lastly, I would love to hear your thoughts about this topic and hear your experiences with these various advertising strategies, regardless of what industry you're in, whether you're a wedding vendor, a DJ, you could even be a coffee shop owner watching this video. Please let me know in the comments section what your experience is. Hopefully we can create a community discussion on this, on the channel and on the video, and everybody can kind of help each other out and share their experiences. That's one thing that's happened a lot on my Weddingwire review videos, so hopefully we can share all those experiences. Whether you had a horror story or positive story, we'd like to hear it in the comments. Other than that, I would also like to announce before I wrap up the video officially that I will be leaving a link in the comments section to a recent piece I did with NBC 10 News in Rhode Island. It's Lit RI, the company which I recently purchased and took over, was featured on a segment on the Studio 10 portion of the news, and you can watch that at the link I've provided in the description. It's a nice 5-minute video of me talking about the business, and you can learn a little bit more about it too. Before we wrap this video up, I wanted to say a quick thank you to Crate Connect. Their affiliate program has been a huge help in supporting my channel and helping me be able to make these videos for you. If you want to give Crate Connect a try, you can get $5 off when you use code DJAlexBrown. I will also get a small commission of the price that you pay when you sign up. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it goes a long way to helping out the channel. Thank you, Crate Connect, for making this video possible. So that is going to wrap up the video. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to leave a thumbs up on the video. Like I said, leave a comment to start that discussion in the comment section. And make sure to subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with new videos. Thanks for watching. Peace.